Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new episode of NASCAR Heat 3 Career Mode. Today we decide who makes the final, or no, the next round of 8, not the final, because the final round is round of 4, which Kevin Harvick is looking like he's going to have a good chance at making that. He comes into Kansas, 31 points to the good. I come in here, 22 to the good. The drivers to watch, though, is Jimmy Johnson, who comes into this race 5 points behind the cut line after a bad finish in Kansas, or in Talladega. So now he has to try and point his way in over Kyle Busch or Keselowski. Suarez, Hamlin, and Menard are all likely in must-win situations. So the battle we're going to be watching today is between the 2, the 18, and the 48 of Keselowski, Kyle Busch, and Jimmy Johnson. But now as we approach our qualifying lap, we actually made it to the second session, and obviously in the spring race I didn't do very good at this track, and I had a different setup in the car this time around, hoping that it would be a little bit better for me as we kind of cut the apron and come across the line. We would set a 30.512, and that would put me in the 15th starting position for Kansas. So let's go decide who makes the round of 8.
Today, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series returns to Kansas City, Kansas for the running of the Hollywood Casino 400. We're halfway through this year's playoff season, and after today, the list of playoff contenders will be cut from 12 to 8. In 2017, Martin Truex Jr. became the first driver to sweep both races at this 1.5-mile tri-oval on his way to his first ever NASCAR Cup championship. Will Truex Jr. continue his recent dominance here, or will another driver emerge victorious and cement their spot in the next round? Let's head down to the track as the action is just about ready to get underway.
Alright, we are ready to get going. Kevin Harvick starts on the pole. Surprisingly, he never runs up front. Keselowski on the outside pole in second place to start this race. Trevor Bayne failed technical inspection, so he will start in the back, and that's the only driver sent to the back for this race as we are ready to get going here in Kansas. Starting behind the 11 car of Denny Hamlin, who's on the inside of Jimmy Johnson. The green flag is out, and the final race of the round of 12 is underway as we get a lot of wheel spin on the initial start, making a little bit of contact actually with Eric Jones before the line. Kevin Harvick and Brad Keselowski lead the two rows to the first turn through the center of turn 1, immediately looking to the inside of the 48 of Jimmy Johnson as he was cleared by Denny Hamlin, who moved up to the top line just in front of Johnson. Down the back straightaway as we are behind our teammate in the 1, the McDonald's Camaro, Jamie McMurray. This could be his final season in the series if we take over his car. We're not 100% sure on what we're going to do yet, but quite loose on the exit of turn 4, and that's going to be a problem that you notice throughout this race as I was getting pretty loose, especially running the inside and the middle line as we come through turns 1 and 2, gaining a lot of ground on the 1 and the 11 of McMurray and Hamlin, now to the inside of Denny on the exit of turn 2, side by side down the back straightaway, pulling ahead of him. Now we try to make it 3 wide with our teammate McMurray and the 10 of Eric Almirola to gain another 2 positions as we drift up the track and get sideways once again, almost into the side of our teammate McMurray, and a little bit of a scare early on in this race as we just about take him out, but we hang on to the car, and really we're just trying to make it to the end, since it does look like we will point our way into the next round now as we come to the end of lap 3, approaching lap 4 behind the 10 of Almirola, sitting P14, and then I decided it's time to move the car up the track. We start migrating to the top line just above the seam. If you hit that seam, you're likely going to lose the back end of the car, so we had to be really careful throughout this race not to hit that as we look to the inside of Eric Almirola now going into turn 3, trying to gain the spot on him using the inside line instead of the outside to get past him, but it does work. We do get clear of the 10 of Almirola out of turn 4 down the front straightaway, getting a pretty solid run on the back end of the 12 of Blaney, and immediately I'm going to look to the top line again to try and get the same type of run down the back straightaway as we get close to the wall, a couple, probably 3 or 4 feet away from it now as we come out of turn 2, looking to the inside of Blaney with the large momentum that we have down the back straightaway as we go into turn 3 to clear him. So slowly working our way forwards at the moment, so it's not going too bad now as we clear Blaney for P12 out of turn 4 to get ahead and close in towards the top 10 later in this run as we come to lap 10, sitting behind Denny Hamlin just ahead of William Byron, and we move up the track just a little bit as I could not hold bottom, and that allows William Byron to get to my inside as well as Eric Almirola to try and follow through as everyone was just kind of in a train right here. So immediately I decide wide. We're going to go back to the top of the track and try to gain as many spots as possible, but I hit the seam there and got pretty loose, and that allows Almirola to get alongside me down the back straightaway as we go into turn 3. This time I ran a middle line trying to see how that works, and it does work out pretty well. But now as we come out of turn 4, Almirola is going to edge ahead as we come through the tri-oval, and now Almirola has a problem, and he's going to go up the track into the wall with our teammate Jamie McMurray just in front of me. A very close call with the 10 of Almirola. Thank goodness he cleared us, but now he's in the wall hard, and no caution comes out yet as we get sideways once again through turns 1 and 2, but very close call for us as we nearly got taken out down the front straightaways. We come into turn 3 and the caution finally comes out as Almirola is probably out of this race. I'm assuming he blew a right front tire, but obviously we stay out getting ready for this next restart.
Be ready.
And the green flag is back out, and it's going to be 5 laps to go at the line, so it's going to be a short dash to decide who can get some points here in stage 1 as Jimmy Johnson. He is not in the top 10, so he's certainly in a rough situation now if he wants to point his way in, as Kyle Busch and Keselowski are both inside the top 10, easily going to gain points over the 48, also allowing them to also have a much bigger gap over the cut line as we get into the wall in turn 3, and that's certainly going to make me lose time. Not what we needed, but we do regain position now behind Jimmy Johnson in the 48. He's up to 16th, and he clearly has a lot of damage. Maybe he was a part of the incident with Almirola when the caution came out, but certainly not what we needed to have happen as I hit the wall going into turn 3. Trying to get back ahead of the 48, a big run out of turns 1 and 2, down the back straightaway, 3 wide in front of us between 88, 12, and 17 of Bowman, Blaney, and Stenhouse as we come into turn 3, just continuing to run that high line as we get very close to the wall, trying not to hit it again, because obviously we do not need that happening now as we get right on the back of Stenhouse, going to give him a shove down the straightaway, trying to push him ahead now as we have 3 laps to go in stage 1, just trying to get towards the top 10. I'm not really too concerned about stage points in this race. We're really just trying to make it to the end as Stenhouse pushes up the track, and I back out of the throttle trying not to get crashed. Now as we come to just 2 to go in the stage now on the outside of Stenhouse, finally on the exit of 2 to the back bumper of Blaney, pushing him as we go into the corner, looking to the inside of him to make a move now as we're on the inside of Blaney, right on his side as we get sideways using that middle line, and that's going to allow the 48 to get by me now as we come out of turn 4, certainly holding up Blaney a little bit now as we cross the line to take the white flag in stage 1. Now as we come along into turns 1, Blaney battles beside Stenhouse as we go to the top to make it 3 wide and see if we can get the momentum on the exit of turn 2 down the back straightaway as we will come out of here clear of Blaney now side by side with Stenhouse going into turn 3 as Johnson certainly not going to get any stage points in this stage as we get into the wall once again, but this time much more significantly as we could not get off the wall as we come out of turn 4, trying to hang on to at least P18 as we come across the line. We will get 18th in stage 1, so it was looking good, and then the last handful of laps I hit the wall a couple times, costing me any stage points. So unfortunate for us, but thankfully we're sitting good in the points. But Kyle Busch and Keselowski both in a top 3 situation there, so they are well above the cut line now. If they do that again, they're going to basically be pretty good unless Jimmy Johnson wins this race. Johnson needs stage points, and he needs to beat 18 in the 2, otherwise he will likely be in a must-win situation.
Keep your head on straight.
But now we get ready to go green in stage 2. The green flag is back out, and we have quite a bit of tire spin on these restarts in this race, surprisingly, which you don't really have at any other track. But as we cross the line behind the 12 of Blaney, obviously a bunch of cars stayed out, putting us down to P29. And this will certainly maybe make things interesting. Obviously slower cars in the front, faster cars in the midfield towards the back. So Jimmy Johnson maybe could take advantage of this and maybe find a way ahead of the 18 in the 2 of Keselowski as we make a 3 wide with Blaney going into turn 3 now, forcing our way in this hole now as we get loose. But thankfully we hold on to the car as we exit turn 4, making a little bit of contact with his left rear quarter panel, but nothing too severe as we cross the line alongside the 12 of Blaney. But we can run this inside on this restart because we have the slower cars in front, and I don't really have to have the throttle down as hard and as much, so it really was able to help me keep control of the car running this bottom line. But if we were going, at max pace, I'd be losing control quite a bit on this bottom line as Trevor Bayne currently leads this race as we look to the inside of our teammate McMurray, now getting into the back of Denny Hamlin on the exit of turn 4, trying to make a 3 wide with him and Truex as we cross the line. There's Kevin Harvick Keselowski's right in front of Jimmy Johnson, so Johnson's trying to gain some crucial track position right now as we get into the back of the 48 going into turns 1, but he's now alongside the 2 and about to be alongside the 18 of Kyle Busch as we exit turn 2 now side by side with Harvick, as I think we're actually in a 3-wide moment right now as we go into turn 3. Johnson will edge ahead of Keselowski now as he battles side by side with the 18 of Kyle Busch. Out of turn 4, he will get ahead of the 18 as well, so Johnson may be able to pull off something strong here and get himself once again closer to that cut line, as he lost many points in stage 1 to Kyle Busch and Keselowski, as we're just going to stay in line for him, or in behind him for the moment now, as we do need to make a move to his inside and try to gain some track position. But right now we're going to take that opportunity to his inside, making it 3 wide with the 48 as we go into turns 3. The 4 of Kevin Harvick right on my back bumper now as we edge ahead of the 48, closing in on a top 10 position, and all these cars staying out certainly has played a big benefit to myself as we now take a 3 wide with Bowman and Byron going into turns 1 now behind the 9 of Elliott, who just won in Dover a couple races ago after getting eliminated from the round of 16, as we make a 3 wide with him, and Austin Dillon kind of forcing the 3 wide as I stuck my nose in there very late, but it's going to work out in my favor now as we go into turns 3 side by side with Elliott behind the 62 of Brendan Gaughan. The 2 slower cars in front of me battling here, and that's going to allow me to close right up on them, and as we exit turn 4, I'm able to get underneath them and use this apron to get back past them, and we would eventually get into the top 10 with this move. So we are certainly working our way forwards pretty well now as we come to lap 9 in stage 2. We got all the way up to P5 behind Daniel Suarez, who's in a must-win situation, as I look to his outside as we go into turns 1 and 2, just using that outside to my advantage, as the next handful of cars, the next 3 cars are all quite a ways away that we're definitely not going to be able to run them down, but for the moment we are able to battle alongside the 19 of Daniel Suarez as we go into turns 3 and 4, struggling to clear him at the moment, but as we come through turns 3 we should be able to get ahead of him as we get on the seam, though causing me to get a little bit loose, and that keeps him alongside me as we come down the front straightaway. As you see the cars behind me, my mirror, Casey Kane's come closer to myself, and Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick are entering the picture now as we ride that top line once again through turns 1 and 2. This time though it's going to be a big benefit to myself as we come out of turn 2 edging ahead of Suarez, and we do clear him down the back straightaway, and I decided to go a little defensive into turn 3. We do kind of run that bottom to make sure he is not able to get to my inside, and we pull away quite a bit through turns 3 and 4 as we exit turn 4, closing in on the end of the stage. But by the time we come to 3 to go, Kevin Harvick did get back past me now as we sit P5 right behind him, and even running the top line I couldn't really battle the 4, so clearly he is the car to beat in this field right now, as we're just going to run in the inside behind him as we come through turns 3 and 4. And I really started to think that we maybe should change our turns 3 and 4 up a little bit, because we've been running the top in turns 3 and 4 most of this race, but I noticed that running the bottom seems to be a little bit faster for myself, so we decided maybe we should migrate to the bottom in turns 3 and 4, but still run the top in turns 1 and 2, because turns 1 and 2 we're really good up here close to the wall. As we come out of turn 2, Hamlin behind me, as well as Keselowski. Jimmy Johnson has fallen back once again, which certainly isn't good for him. Johnson will likely be in a must-win situation depending on how this stage ends as we come out of turn 4 to take the white flag in stage 2 this time by, as Hamlin and Keselowski start to close in on me very fast, as the white flag is now out in stage 2, running that top through turns 1 and 2. Keselowski looked to the inside of Hamlin for a brief moment in my mirror, but he was not able to get to his inside. But now as we come into turn 2, Hamlin moves up the track. That allows the 2 of Keselowski to get to his inside, and you never know, these points for Keselowski could be pretty big as we come into turns 3 and 4, trying to hang on, but we get sideways, very sideways, running that middle line, and that's going to allow the 2 to get to my inside as we exit turn 4, and Keselowski is going to edge me out now as we come across the line to get P6 as he steals P5 away from me in stage 2. And Jimmy Johnson got P9. Kyle Busch, no stage points, so Johnson did gain a few points on Kyle Busch, but Kyle Busch gained so many points in stage 1 that Johnson's likely going to need Kyle Busch or Brad Keselowski to have some type of trouble here in this last stage as we do come to pit road and come out all the way down to P19, because I felt like I needed to take 4 tires. Obviously the game thought different as the AI only took 2, so unfortunately we get shuffled back a little bit down to P19 as the green flag is back out. Stage 3 is underway. It's not a long one, it's only about 25 laps as we cross the line behind the 51 of Harrison Rhodes and the orange and black car as we come into turns 1. Looking to the inside of the 38 of David Reagan, just going to really try to work our way forwards and try not to interfere with the round of 8 battle between Johnson, Kyle Busch, and Keselowski, as Johnson tries to make the round of 8 to keep his drive for 8 championships alive now as we come through turns 3 and 4 behind Daniel Suarez, who's in a must-win situation, just like Denny Hamlin and Paul Menard are now as we come across the line. Looking to the outside of Suarez as we go towards turn 1, closing in on the back of the 18 and the 48 pretty fast. And this 4-tire pit stop might just come in a big benefit to myself, because we're already closing in on a top 10 position now as we battle alongside the 19 of Suarez, going wide in turn 3, running that high line now, closing in on the back of the 48 as we come through turns 3 and 4. Big run on the exit of the corner. The 48 is going to cut me off a little bit, so I go to the bottom and take it 3 wide with him and Suarez as we come across the line. Now as we edge ahead of Suarez and Johnson into turns 1, we do take P13 as Jimmy Johnson starts to drift backwards, unfortunately for him, as we come out of turn 2 a little bit sideways, but we do maintain position down the back straightaway as we approach turn 3 as William Byron, Chase Elliott, and Denny Hamlin battle 3 wide now as Kyle Busch joins that 3 wide himself. Out of turn 4 though, Denny Hamlin, he drifts back to P12 as we sit P13 still across the line, hitting 22 laps to go in this race now as we come to lap 47, just over 20 to go, getting very sideways, hitting that seam, like I said earlier, we could not do as we get a caution, and that's going to cause this field to get a little bit bunched up, maybe allowing Johnson to maybe do something now as we get ready for a restart here with less than 20 to go, starting P13 behind the 9 of Chase Elliott as we get ready to go green. The green flag is back out, starting right behind the 9 and P13, trying to get into the top 10 as we cross the line to hit 18 laps to go in this race now. Right on the bumper of Chase Elliott, trying to get going into turns 1 is Austin Dillon, and the 3 behind me who closes in on my back bumper now as we look to the inside of the 2 of Keselowski as Kevin Harvick leads this race. Big shocker here in Kansas now as he almost hit the 2 coming down the back straightaway, but no harm is done as we go into turn 3 as he runs that middle line as we drift up the track a little bit. Not what I was planning on doing, but we certainly drifted up, unfortunately, but we do maintain track position as we come across the line now. Right on the back bumper of William Byron, looking to his outside as we approach turns 1, running towards the wall like we have been all race, and it's been working very well for us when we've been up towards the wall, unless I hit it. Now as we come out of turn 2 alongside the 12 of Ryan Blaney, trying to take P11 from him now as we edge him out, actually P10, so we enter the top 10 now on the outside of William Byron once again, but he is going to edge me out as we come through turns 3 and 4, but we do get back alongside as we exit the corner now, right on the back bumper of Bowman, and we're going to try to go to the outside of him as well, gaining a good amount of positions here in this race as we have 16 laps to go now in Kansas, as Jimmy Johnson really needs a good amount of luck if he wants a chance at making this round of 8, because right now it looks like it's pretty set on who's getting in to the round of 8. Now all over the back bumper of William Byron as we go into turn 3, sitting in P9 now behind him as he pushes up the track, getting into his left rear, getting the car a little unsettled, but we do hang on to it as we exit turn 4, sitting still just ahead of the 12 of Ryan Blaney as we cross the line to hit 15 laps to go in this race. Now as we come to lap 53 in turns 1 and 2 behind the 24, we end up getting a little too wide going into the wall, a little too much I was trying to gain, and that's going to push me way down the order now as we get hit by Denny Hamlin on the exit of turn 2, and I lose a ton of positions as we quickly fall back all the way down to approximately almost the 20th position. Certainly not what I needed, as we were inside the top 10 running strong, and now everything's changed for us, but thankfully we're pretty well in points now as we come to lap 61, just ahead of Jimmy Johnson down the back straightaway, very well going to make our way into this next round of 8 now as we come into turn 3, and they're smoking. We have a spinner. Up the track comes a big car. It's a white car now on the apron wrecking, and it's Brad Keselowski, a driver that's trying to make the final round of 8 before we decide who makes the final 4. So I don't know how this is going to play out for us now as Keselowski is sent to the back of the field. He does continue in this race, but now Jimmy Johnson has an opportunity to make the next round. It is just 3 laps to go now as we cross the line. The green flag is out. Kevin Harvick trying to hang on to the victory as we look to our inside, or to the inside of our teammate Jamie McMurray, now getting to the inside of him through turns 1 and 2 with help from Ryan Newman behind me. Side by side with the 1 out of turn 2, and now we come out of the corner getting a little bit loose and up the track. We go into the 1 car now down into the apron, and we're going to come up the track and cause a huge crash down into turn 3. Suarez, a playoff driver, involved, as that was not my intentions, as I just came out of turn 2 and just lost the back end just a tiny bit, and I overcorrected right into the side of the 1 car, and down the track we went now as Kyle Busch now leads this race. But we will be restarting P27 now, as these last handful of laps in this stage has turned into a disaster for me. But it doesn't really matter, as we will definitely make this round of 8 as the green flag is back out. But the question is, with 2 laps to go, who's going to make it between Johnson and Keselowski, as we make it 3 wide now with the Benedetto as we go into turns 1, immediately losing the momentum though as we come into the corner, allowing him to get back clear of me as we sit P27, trying to gain as many positions as we can before this thing is over. But both Kansas races for this season have not gone very well for me, but I'm thinking that really next season we could do much better here. We had a good car this time around. It's just we ran into some trouble hitting the wall and obviously overcorrecting myself on the exit of turn 2, causing a big crash as we went into turn 3. As the white flag is in the air, Kyle Busch trying to get his second win of the season and second win of the playoffs now as we come through turns 1 and 2, running that top for the final time as we exit turn 2 with a solid run down the back straightaway alongside the 72 of Corey LaJoie as we head into turns 3 and 4 for the final time of this race. We briefly get into the wall, certainly not what I wanted to do for the last time around this track this season. As we exit turn 4 though, we're going to get P24 behind Matt DiBenedetto as Kurt Busch will win in Kansas. So certainly not a good finish for myself, but it doesn't really matter. We are locked into the round of 8, so now it's really down to see who made it between Johnson, Kyle Busch, and Keselowski. I know Kyle Busch, he likely made it. Almirola DNF'd, 59 laps down. Kurt Busch, there is your victory for him, so very good for Kurt Busch. Now as we get ready to look at the points, who made the round of 8 between the 48 and the 2? I think it's still going to be Keselowski, and it is Brad Keselowski. Keselowski makes the round of 8 by 2 points over Jimmy Johnson. Denny Hamlin misses it by 7, Suarez by 37, and Paul Menard misses it by 51 as we sit 21 above the cut line, or 23 above the cut line, since Johnson missed it by 2, but that doesn't really matter now as we completely reset the points according to playoff points as we go into this round of 8, as we have some messages.
You made it to the round of 8. Great job.
Yeah, it's something you're not experiencing this season.
You've made it to the round of 8. Great
Same
job.
as you, Stenhouse. And William Byron, one step closer to the dream. Yeah, we'll compliment everyone hopefully here is when okay, Corey LaJoie, he's not happy. I wouldn't go camping like I said before, but we're going to provoke him simply for that reason. And now Daniel Hemrick not happy. We're going to provoke him as well. And Denny Hamlin, we're going to provoke you as well, because you guys, I didn't really cause any unnecessary contact in that race, but I guess they felt like I did. Now as the next episode we will have Martinsville, as Haley Deegan looks to make her way into the round of 4, as we also try to work ourselves into the round of 4, maybe with hopefully a win in Martinsville. And there is your playoff grid for the round of 8. Kevin Harvick, 33 to the good. Joey Logano, 4 to the good. I am 3 points out, and this is going to be one heck of a battle between 2nd and 8th. So if you guys enjoyed, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Those would all be very appreciated. And I will see you guys in the next episode as we start to determine who will advance to the round of 4 in Homestead.